This is Scott from Scott Pulsini Trader, and this is the video on the basic bookmap settings that I use. Take a second to read this disclaimer. Okay, so the first thing we're going to cover the buy sell bubble settings. I will show you on this live example, live market. So I use red and blue, the red and green in the default. I just can't differentiate the green from the red because I'm colorblind, so I use blue. Anyway, you right click on the bubbles, volume dot settings, and these are the settings I use. Just, I think these are default anyway, but 3D bubbles, I use the volume delta. That's just showing the buy versus minus the sell for the bubble. And the bigger the bubble, the bigger the selling. Heavier the selling or heavier the buying, blue or red or blue. And then the size, transparency, this is all stuff you can control, depending on your liking. The size you can control over here too. As far as you can see, it's moving at both places. And then clustering, again, you can get into all this stuff. Go into the Bookmap wiki and read about this. I just have it on Smart Clustering, so it's basically clustering bubbles together. Bruce from Bookmap likens it to like a puddle, like when a bubble is close to a puddle, like or a droplet of water, it sucks into the bigger puddle. So that's how they have this the smart clustering. You can look that up, but I mean, you can see if I have none here, then it gets a little uglier as far as like bubbles on top of bubbles and stuff like that. So I just use smart, but again, it's your preference what you want to use there. And then this stuff's just all default. Again, you can read about if you want to make it more customizable. I just went over that. And then the next thing we're going to cover is last traded price line. So you're going to want this on your chart when it comes to drawing zones. We'll get to that section later in another video. For the longest time I had this off because this is kind of annoying. It just makes my chart very loud. So I usually would have that off, and that's what it would look like without. I used to draw the zones to the bubbles, and that was actually incorrect. So the last traded price line is showing the exact traded price, and that's usually the center of the bubbles. But trying to guess the center of the bubbles is difficult a lot of times. So you just right click. You can either right click here, configure visible components, and then click last price line, and it'll show that line. And then when you take your bubbles off, you can see these are actual traded prices, easier to see than just these tiny bubbles. And then everything you do here is same things up here. You don't even have to right click the chart, just click up here, same thing, and then you can pick the stuff that you want to see on your chart. So that's the last traded price line. We'll get into that again in a later video on how I use that to draw my zones. The next thing are the hotkeys. So to access your hotkeys, you want to go to your main Bookmap page, which is here. And what am I clicking there? Settings, keyboard shortcuts, and then you want to go down to toolbar. So there you can do hotkeys for all this stuff. I'm just showing you what I'm using it for. So I use it for drawing on my zones. Again, we're not talking about that in this video, but just to make life easier for you, I'll show you the options of the long way to do it versus the hotkeys. This is going to be why you want the hotkeys. I'll show you in a second. But just go to drawing tools, and then you set up your shift, whatever you want. It could be control, it could be shift. You set that up, so you click on, say I want line. So you click on whatever you want to change. You left click on that, and then you right click, hit add shortcut, and then where is? Oh, can't find the. Oh, it's up here. Sorry. So then this will pop up, and then you press what you want. So if I want for this line, say I want Shift L. Hold down Shift and L at the same time, and that will be your and it's no conflicts, meaning you don't have another hotkey set up that way. Hit OK. So if I hit Shift L, it'll draw a line. I have Shift L for my horizontal line, Shift E for edit drawing. So you're going to have to go into edit mode to get to these, to get to the drawing of the lines. We'll get into that, but otherwise, if you don't have hotkeys, then you have to go through this process, and it's very tedious. I'm praying for the day they come up with a updated version of the drawing of these drawing tools. But you have to go in here if you want to draw something and hit edit. Then you have to come in here again pick, say we're drawing a zone, horizontal line, you got to pick that. And then I actually have this, you could have it on single figure mode where it resets. If I have this off, it'll stay on whatever I check, right? So if I check horizontal line, it'll keep drawing horizontal lines until I get out of this edit mode. If I have it on, single figure mode, it'll just draw the one and then it'll go back off the edit mode. So you can have it so, again, it stays on or off. If you have it off, it's going to stay on that edit mode, so you physically come up here and click this. And then if you have it checked, it goes off immediately. Otherwise, if you want to draw without hotkeys, you got to click on this. You got to click horizontal line, draw the line, and then to get out of that mode, because it won't let you pull the chart around. And you can see this yellow square around here. You got to get out of that mode to do anything else. So you got to come back here, hit none, and get out of it. So if on my hotkeys, all I have to hit, so my personal hotkey is to get in edit mode, Shift E, and you can see how that just automatically drew that, or got me into this mode versus having to click it up here. And then if I hit Shift H, I'm in horizontal drawing line mode, and it just draws it for me, right? But it goes back, because I have, see how it went back out of edit mode on its own? Just that's because I have single figure mode. And if you have this unchecked, then it'll stay in edit mode as long as you can keep drawing lines like I showed you. So very tedious. Bookmap is incredible. That's the driver of everything I do, but some things need to be improved on, and they have a lot on their plate, the developers, that I'm sure this will be addressed eventually. So that is for the hotkeys, and then again, you can set these up for all these other things too if you want for the hotkeys. I'm not going to get into those right now. Next is the alert box. So this is just to let you know your SI indicator, and this market just started Globex, so I'm not going to have any alerts on here, but to get the alert box, we'll get into this, the SI indicator. This is for the SI indicator, so you can hear the alerts and see the alerts. We'll get into those settings, but over here you want to go to File, Alerts, and then this box will pop up. So you can have this on the side, so throughout the day, a lot of times you'll be doing something on a call, whatever, and you hear something, but you don't actually hear it, and you're like, wait, what was that? All you gotta do is come back to this box, and it'll read off exactly what fired off. Again, we just started Globex, so there's nothing in there. I'm sure something will pop up as I'm on this video, though, to interrupt me, because that's how it usually works. And let's see, next one is, so this is to get into replay mode. So every day that you trade, it stores the files on your computer. So for my trade room, for example, I give the feeds out for every day for the last, almost 3 years now, of all these different products. So whatever products you're watching, it's only going to record that data onto your computer for the products you're watching. So you're not going to get all of these unless you have all these subscribed to. See what I'm saying? So the point is, I'll show you the basic how to get in here and access these from your computer. So let's hop on my other computer here. So let's just start from scratch. Here, let's get X out of this. So what you want to do is open up your Bookmap. And got it over here. Hold on a second. It takes a second to load up here. I'm still waiting. So once this populates here, you're going to see trading mode, simulation mode, replay mode. You want to get into replay mode, hit OK. And then you're going to see over here, this will pop up. Then here's where you bring in your data files, right? So if you save files, from the every data file is going to save to your computer. You have to manually delete them if you want this when it's saved on your computer. So you'll get something that looks like this, right? So you have all the feeds. This computer I haven't saved every day like my other computer, but you can see all these feeds, and this is a lot of data that may be jamming up your computer if you don't know they're on there. So if you don't want these days, you just come in here and delete them, and it'll send them to your recycle bin, right? But anyway, if you want whatever day you want to run, say I wanted to run 6:30 here, I just double click on the day, and it'll populate, or hit open, sorry. And then it'll start playing this day. So what you want to be careful of, because this thing crashes very easily, so especially if you have a lot of products that you're watching, again, these are ones that I'm watching. You're not going to get all these unless you're subscribed to these, and more populate here as it gets going. And actually I started this that night, but what you want to do is let this populate, because I'm going to show you the speed up feature, which you're going to obviously want to do. You're not going to watch the day in real speed, right? You'll be sitting here for 7 hours watching market movements. So the whole idea of this is you can practice, you can speed it up to get your various setups, right? So let's see here, to practice your SI indicator setups and stuff like that. So what you want to do is let this populate, give it about, I'd say 20-30 seconds, and then you can start to speed it up if you want, right? But I wouldn't just jump to 128, 256 times. I would gradually lead up to it, or you're going to get a crash. It'll crash on you, and that's quite a pain, especially if you get going a little bit and you speed it up. You're an hour into it, and then all of a sudden it crashes. So just gradually add these. Hoping this doesn't crash right now. I'm going a little fast for this, but and then get it to your desired speed. So like I want to speed this up, especially if this is started overnight, right? So I want to get this to the next day. So I want to get this, it says 256, 500. Actually, they finally stopped. 512. This does not change after I think it's 128. It doesn't make a difference after that. So don't think if you put it at 500 it's going to be faster. I think the max speed is more like 128. So, but that's definitely a lot faster. You can see this day whipping by now. But this is a great way to practice. I don't have the SI set up on this for some reason. Just go in here and go like this. This will probably crash it, I would think, while it's running. Go over here and make sure your stuff is set up. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. That's what I wanted to do. So you can see here that it's all populating now down here. So that's how you can replay your days. So the other thing you want to know, if you can either have your own, you feed from your computer, or you can open these up from the download. So for instance, my Bookmap data feeds in my trade room, you can get access to. You have to go to the data feed. Let me just show you guys in case you're in my trade room. 1 second here. Let me find this instance. So this is what it would look like, right? So you have to go to this day, right? And this is actually on another computer, but you would right-click it, download it, right? And then it'll put it on your computer if you don't already have it. I already have this, obviously, because it was my computer, but you download it, and then when you're on the replay mode, then you got to go to downloads, right? I know this stuff is very basic, but I'm a tech ignorant when it comes to tech stuff, so this is like revolutionary to me. But then go to downloads, and you can see like I downloaded these the last couple days. So that's how you would download my data feeds, and then you just go double click on the day you want, and you see it resets it and starts that day, right? So that's the replay function. Very important. As you learn these SI setups, you can go back to particular day, individual days, and replay the day and practice drawing zones, practice trading them, so on and so forth. So very, very important. Let's just put this here. So again, when you get this is probably going to crash because I started this at 128. You don't want to start it at 128. Start it, let it all develop, start to populate, then you can start to speed it up. And then these are just your controls: reverse, fast forward, play. I'm sorry, that just sets it back to 1. Pause and play is here. So that's how I use that. Very, very incredible way to trade, and you can actually even put trades on as you trade. So you draw a zone and you want to practice trading it, right? You just come over here. This reminds me of the old days when I was trading huge size, right? You can put on like 100 lot. You can even make it 1,000 if you want. Fire that in. Then you get the feeling of it. This is because it's going so fast, you're going to get really annoying. I don't know why it does this, but you see the P&L if you were trading 1,000 lots, so that's kind of cool. Again, reminds me of like the old days. Let me get out of this. There we go. So again, I have this sped up. I don't know why it's doing it only 4 times, but as you can see, it's pretty annoying. It doesn't usually do that, but don't trade 1,000 lots, I guess, and you won't have to hear this sound. I think it's because it's executing 1,000 fills, right? So that's really annoying. So we'll go ahead and X out of that. Sorry about that. There we go. Wow. Okay. And then this just goes over. This is just the document that shows you that, and then speeding it up. And that's it for the settings. Just a basic short video on how to do the settings. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.